7 games in, but for all intents and purposes, we know Georgia at least is going to have 6 or 7 more games at this point. 6, 7. Um,
6-7. Oh my
yeah.
God.
So, but yeah, so 6-1. Where was Georgia last year at this point? 6-1, lost to Alabama. Same thing last year. Last year at this point they had the win over Texas. This year you can substitute that with the win over Ole Miss.
Well,
So yeah,
we got Georgia has 2 big wins this year. You got the Ole Miss win, and you got that Tennessee win is really big.
Right. Yeah, I just meant changing out those games where the signature win of the first half last year was really uh last year was Clemson, and then the win over Texas. Where this year you've got the Tennessee and the Ole Miss. In both cases, close loss to Alabama. Coming into the season, I predicted Georgia go 10-2 this year, make the college football playoff, but I thought we were going to beat Bama. So not having not beat Bama is disappointing, but at least everything else still seems kind of to line up. What are some early thoughts, bro, on the first half of the season for Georgia? Overall, offensively, Georgia's in at 33.7 points a game, 42nd in the country. Now, that's actually an improvement from last year. Georgia was at 31.5 points, which is 38th in the country last year. Now, of course, that was over the whole season, and you'll see that with a lot of these statistics as end of the season, bowl games, things like that. Some of these stats tend to go down. Total offense, 428 yards, good for 37th in the country. Last year, they were at 405, 51st in the country. Passing the ball, we have seen a regression there, which is what you expected, going from Gunner Stockton, who's a little bit more run happy than obviously Carson Beck was. 237.9, 64th in the country, whereas last year they 281, 12th in the country. But the biggest improvement on offense has been rushing the ball. Last year, Georgia was abysmal, 102nd in the country, 124 yards a game. This year, they're at 190 yards a game, 37th. So offensively, you've seen the shift away from passing back to rushing the ball. Scoring slightly up, total offense is up so far. The offense has really been driving this team, as we'll see in the defensive rankings. The defense has kind of taken a step back.
Yeah. So going back to just talking about the season, how it's been thus far. So I personally would give this current team a B+ up until this point. Since losing to Bama, Georgia has really had a kind of a quietly good season. The team is very young, especially on defense, but the offense has been cooking. I mean, Bobo, I hate when people say this, he's been in his bag.
I think I've said that to you a couple times.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's saying that right now. And I'm a contrarian, so whatever everybody's saying, I don't like it. I'm a hater.
Yeah.
But Georgia's been really good on offense, and each week they continue to get better in areas where they have young players, like underclassmen, freshmen.
Yep.
We've been really bad. Georgia's been really bad on defense in the first half. Yep. Every game, but great in the second half of every game.
So just a little bit, I know I gave the offensive rankings. Let's talk about the defensive rankings before we go deep on the defense, because it's a little bit of an interesting picture, right? Okay. So scoring wise, Georgia's at 19.6, 32nd in the country. Last year, 20.6, 23rd in the country. So we're actually giving up less points this year. Now it's worse overall, but actually giving up less points. Total yards, 313, 28th in the country. Last year, 329. Passing defense, we're giving up 222, which is up a little bit. It was 200 last year. But once again, major area of improvement, rushing defense. Last year, Georgia gave up 129 yards a game, 36 in the country. This year they're at 91.4, 11th in the country rushing defense. So
yeah,
overall, you've seen some improvements. Now, some of that could be a little bit screened, right?
2 areas though. Of these stats that I'm looking at. So passing defense, you said 222. That's good for 70th in the country. That's horrible. And what's even worse, third down defense, 94th in the country at a whopping 42% success rate.
Yeah. The even more glaring than that, the worst defensive statistic I think that is probably the biggest problem Georgia has on defense right now, and that's getting to the quarterback. Georgia has
Yes.
7 sacks this year. That's 121st in the country.
They got 8.
Huh?
They got 8
8?
now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they got 8, but still, it's still 121st in the country, and almost all of those sacks are by the linebackers. I think Chris Cole's got 3, and I think CJ Allen's got 3.
They
Like,
do.
your linebackers who are not edge linebackers, they are linebacker linebackers, should not be leading your team in sacks. And especially not a defense like Georgia, that, traditionally has been known for not necessarily putting up great numbers, but getting pressures on the quarterback. And hell, when we had the 2021 generational defense, they did get to the quarterback a lot. But yeah, like you said, it's a problem. Third down defense is a major issue, and I think not getting into the quarterback is a major issue. I also think that, like you said, passing defense is a problem. Teams are passing more because Georgia is, for all intents and purposes, good at stopping the rush, and so I
Oh,
think teams are
Georgia is great at stopping the run.
seeing that and exploiting it. Now, what Georgia's
Yeah.
not great at in terms of
Is getting to
stopping
the
the rush.
quarterback.
Well, but also, and that's interesting because the rushing number at 91.4, that's without the benefit of having a lot of negative yards because of sacks.
Exactly, exactly. So throughout the season, so I just want to talk about the defense, like as it's gone throughout the season. So first off, they don't show up until the second half. That's a huge problem. And when we're talking about this pass rush and or lack of, I want to know, where are the transfers at?
Right.
Because we had some big time transfers coming in that were supposed to be pass rushers and haven't seen them.
It was supposed to
Haven't
be
seen them.
Mendoza, right? But I think the problem is Ella Mendoza came from Army, and maybe the success of a pass rusher at Army
It's a
has
little
not
different
translated
than
over.
the SEC.
Now, I will say that we, at least in this last game against Ole Miss, you're starting to see a little flash out of Josh Horton,
Mhm.
who was one that I didn't expect really to see that much out of. Big defensive lineman. He had a couple good plays at the end, and he's made some plays over the last couple weeks as he's kind of worked his way in there. Um, and Xavier McLeod, now this is his second year transfer, but he's had some good plays in there too. But yeah, overall, the defensive side of the ball, the transfers have not lived up to what they've done on the offensive side of the ball.
Right, exactly. And honestly, the one thing that drives me nuts about this defense is the poor tackling. I feel like this is the worst tackling defense I've seen under Kirby. It could just be recency bias, and I'm just mad, and I'm just a crazy fan that just can't see through the crap or whatever. But it seems like we miss a ton of tackles
Yeah.
until we get to the second half or fourth quarter.
Yeah. Well, I think we've always had a guy who could clean stuff up right in the middle. And as good
Yeah,
CJ Allen is a good player, but he doesn't clean stuff up as good as the guys we had in the past. Even last year, we still had
yeah,
Smile Munden, and Smile Munden, for anything that he lacked, he could make tackles and be in the right position. The year before that, Jamon Dumas Johnson physically may have not been the best player, but he made the tackles he needed to make. And then before that, we had Nakobe Dean, and we were spoiled. So you've always had
mhm,
these guys that clean things up at the linebacker position. And like I said, CJ Allen
yeah.
flies around, but he tends to get out of position sometimes, particularly with his eyes. And
He
so
does.
he doesn't clean up as much as the guys we have in the past. So
Yeah,
that hurts when you
and
don't have that guy who's coming up. And we don't have the same talent in the secondary either. Malachi Starks can come up and hit somebody. And we don't have a guy like that.
oh,
Bolden's good, but I don't feel like we have somebody that's coming up. Aguero has shown some flashes at times, but
yeah. So that leads me to, this defense is very young, especially on D line and secondary. The linebacker play, I think, has been really good between CJ Allen and Raylan Wilson. I mean, we saw that in the Auburn game with the biggest play of the game.
yeah.
Um,
That was both their best games of the year though for both of those players.
yeah, yeah. But to me, the secondary I feel like is getting better every week. The first few games we were like, oh my gosh, these guys, like, what is going on? We're just getting torched
Yeah.
on every deep pass. Like, we couldn't defend a deep pass to save our lives. It seems like the combo of Everett, DeMello Jones, Ellis Robinson, it seems like they're finally starting to figure some things out back
Yeah.
there. We're starting to see some pass defenses on deep shots, which is great. They're not doing too much. They're not hand fighting as much. They're just going up, knocking the ball away, and that's awesome. But the problem is there's no pass rush,
Right. And
and
teams are
it doesn't matter how
picking us
good your
apart.
secondary
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
Well, they're not going deep as much. They're picking us apart. I mean, even in the Alabama game, let's look back. Other than that incomplete pass to Ryan Williams early in the game, Alabama didn't throw the ball deep the whole game.
yeah,
They just
yeah.
picked us methodically apart down the field, which is
They were
which is a lot what
long drives.
right, which is a lot what Ole Miss did too. Now they weren't line drives, but even Ole Miss's long touchdown pass was a quick pass that Everett missed a tackle. So now, yes, they did go deep in the Tennessee game. Let's not let's not act like
Yeah,
nobody's gone deep on us, but
yeah.
that's Tennessee's offense too. Um, but yeah, the secondary overall, yes, it's getting better. It's young. I wish, after what we saw at G Day, I thought Daniel Harris was gonna step up, but he's kind of disappeared. I don't even know if we've seen him play that much last few weeks. And
No, I don't think we have. Um, but I do like what I'm seeing out of Aguero and KJ Bolden.
yeah,
I think there's KJ Bolden's been good ever since he set foot on campus. Aguero, he's coming back from injury. He's starting to fill out that role, and
I don't think
I
we win
think
the Tennessee game without Aguero.
we
That
don't.
was
He
his
had a
that was his
great
best
game.
game.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah, he was nailing people, like,
yeah.
absolutely
And he
missile.
had a pick too in that game. But
Yep, yep, yep. So, what does this defense need to be, or what does this defense need to do in order to be championship level?
consistency. You can't do it just at the end of games.
Yeah,
As
you gotta start playing
as
full
great as
games.
it is to be able to shut people down, entirely shut them down in the second half, doing that, you are relying on your offense to keep it in. And the offense has been great, and we should talk more about the offense in a minute, but that's
Oh,
a
we
lot
will.
of pressure. That's a lot of pressure on that offense. And for Georgia to reach the level that they want, they're going to have to get consistency. And it's going to start this week against Florida because Florida ain't got nothing to lose. And we know that Lagway, while he's throwing
Can
some
throw it
picks,
deep.
he can also throw it deep and he can run. So they're going to have to just get some consistency. Maybe not fear that deep ball as much. Also stop playing so much zone because that's what they did against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss picked us apart. Uh, but yeah, just consistency.
Yep, yep, yep. Playing full games. They gotta find some kind of pass rush.
Yeah,
Georgia's never been a, like, big sack team, but Georgia's always good at affecting the quarterback,
yeah.
just causing havoc plays.
And maybe we see
And
that this week with the off week, and maybe there's some changes, some of the
yeah,
rotation. Like I said, even Horton getting in there a little bit more was a change. You got some of these younger guys, Chris Jones getting a little play there at linebacker, things like that.
yep, yep. And the young secondary just continue to get better every week. Just keep doing what they're doing, and as a whole, tackle better.
Yeah,
Please, Georgia dogs. Come on,
yeah,
dogs. Tackle, 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 tackle. So on offense, okay, sorry. For defensive grade, I would actually give them a B minus for the year
Ooh,
because they've played.
you're generous. I gave him a C minus.
Oh wow. Well, I couldn't do that because we still are 6-1. We're we're still shutting down the run. Our scoring defense is not bad at 19 points a game, and the way that they close out games is awesome. So that's
Yeah,
why I was up in a B minus.
yeah,
But
makes sense.
I could see the case for a C minus.
Yeah. What
um,
about defensive MVP? What you thinking?
oh, this hands down CJ Allen.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I mean, as much as I harp on Dalen Everett, CJ Allen's having a phenomenal year, leads the team in tackles, tied for the lead in sacks, and he's a he's a big leader on the defense. He's playing at all American caliber,
Yeah.
and he if he continues this progression, he's got a chance to go down as one of the all time greats.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the offensive side of the ball, which has been much more of a bright spot, for this team, really. Talked a little bit about it in the statistics. One of the goals this year was to get back to running the football. Obviously, it wasn't the Georgia standard last year, and they have made it a point. The running game has been great. The combination of Chauncey Bowens developing into, a lead back. Nate Frazier, despite some troubles with fumbling, really has come back strong the last few weeks. And Gunner Stockton being part of that. You've seen a little bit of Dwight Phillips in there. I guess the one thing that the Georgia offense, the rushing attack is missing is the big play. They are not a big play offense. They've been incredibly consistent. You're going to get that 4.5, 5 yards of carry, which is great. Just not a lot of big plays in there.
Well,
Phillips had one, but
I mean, Chauncey Bowens has had a few really long runs, and then
yeah,
you
but
know
you're not seeing any 50s or 60s up there. It's just it's a lot of 12s and 10s and 13s and 9s
you
and
get
that's
some
great.
30s, get some 20s and 30s.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's just they are an efficient running offense, but they are
Yeah,
not an explosive
we
running
we
offense.
haven't hit any home runs in the running game.
Right. Except for Gunner. I mean, Gunner's got a
Yeah,
couple of 20 plus yard runs
for
for
touchdowns. Yeah.
touchdowns in
Hmm.
there. Um, and as the running game has progressed, what this tells you is that the offensive line is playing better. And for an offensive line that has
Yes.
been incredibly, ridiculously banged up all year, infamously in the first 6 games, started 6 different offensive lines. You've got multiple freshmen either starting or playing significantly on the line. They're getting better every week and they're finally getting healthy. Getting Ernest Green back the last couple of games really helped. Juan Gaston is a beast of a man. He's good at tackle. He's great at guard. Glover is getting in there and playing. Freeling has been hurt, but man, he toughed it out in that Auburn game, and they weren't even going to let him play. And then he got Conference Player of the Week. Offensive line, the development of the last few games of the offensive line has really, really been a bright spot for this team. And they're so
Yeah,
young and they're just getting
it's
better.
it's been great. I mean, the offense has definitely been the strength of this team this year. And there were two things that were just terrible last season. There was blocking all around, pass blocking and run blocking, because our run game was non-existent last year, and then drops from
Yep.
receivers. So Georgia did some work in the portal and in recruiting and seems to have corrected those two areas.
Yeah.
Because
Outside of one really bad drop
yeah, yeah,
by Talon Taylor.
it
Other than
was.
other than
Yeah,
that, drops have not been a problem.
yeah. Compared to what it was last year, where it's
Oh
like
God.
the first drive of every game, like Aaron Smith dropped a ball or somebody
Yeah.
dropped a ball. I
Yeah.
mean, it was insane how often that happened.
Yeah.
Um, but the offensive line has been outstanding despite having two true freshmen on the starting on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, those two true freshmen have been a huge lift to that offensive line. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got some beef out there. I
Yeah.
mean, they're moving people. It's awesome.
But let me tell you, the offensive line doesn't flow as good as it has this year without Drew Bobo.
Oh,
Underrated,
absolutely.
underrated
Absolutely.
as hell at the center position, and people might have screamed nepotism, whatever. That dude has held that line together, and he wasn't expected to be the starter there last year because Michael Morris could have came back, right? Or I mean, not Mike Morris, Jared Wilson could have came back, and he didn't. And so you had Drew Bobo fill in, there at the end of the year, and he has held that line
Yep,
together. Very
he
impressed with
has.
him.
And he takes a lot off of Gunner's plate,
Yeah,
which helps Gunner play even faster, which is what we need out of
yeah.
him.
And then let's talk about the pass catchers as a whole. So obviously
Mhm.
Branch, Zachariah Branch, gadget guy, all American punt returner. Is he a good catcher? Dude, that guy's been awesome, man. He's
Phenomenal.
he's catching balls down the field. He's catching, screen passes, which, as Kirby said, are really extensions of the run game. Makes guys miss. His hands have been great. He is our go-to guy on third downs. I
Yeah,
love the
him and
play of
him and
Branch.
Gunner have a great connection where he goes for a slant and Gunner just guns it for,
Yeah.
no pun intended. But and he catches them.
Yep. And then
Those were
Colby
drops
Young,
last year.
yeah, Colby Young was having a really good year. Unfortunately, he broke his ankle. His ankle or leg. He's gonna be out for the year. But he was that deep threat we need. Now we haven't seen a lot of Noah Thomas. Hopefully he steps in. Um, he didn't really the last game after Colby Young got in. It was Dylan Bell who stepped up. Um,
Yeah, yeah, because they immediately threw to Noah Thomas deep,
yeah,
but he got called for offensive pass interference.
yeah. So he hasn't lived up to the billing yet, but he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. So maybe with Young out, we see a little bit more development there. Tight end group has been good. We didn't really use them a lot, and then all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks,
Tight
man,
ends are getting in the mix this
it's like
year. Delp,
20, like
Lucky,
22,
Wyatt
like
Williams,
22 targets. I think the last 2 weeks for the tight end group, they're showing up.
phenomenal.
Lucky's great. Delp is great. Elias Williams is great. It sucks that Ethan Barber got hurt, but tight ends are awesome, and I really like how they've been used the last couple weeks. That continues. This offense is humming. Watch out, because maybe the Georgia defense is not as great, but the offense is so much improved from last year overall, and the quality and the ability to move the ball down the field. So
Yeah, the defense is just going to get better.
yeah,
And I love what we're seeing out of the pass catchers. But to me, the biggest improvement of this team has been at quarterback. And I know that's kind of a tough thing to say because you had Carson Beck last year, who is a good quarterback. But what we're seeing out of Gunner this year is a million times better than what we saw with Carson Beck last year.
right,
Gunner Stockton, he's tough. He's a winner. He's a gamer. He is clutch. He makes big plays and huge games and huge moments, and he gets better every week. For the first few games or first 4 games, really, there was a lot of talk that he's like timid. He's not pushing the ball down the field. He has 0 interceptions. That just means he's being too conservative with it. Well,
yeah,
now we're seeing him take those chances, trusting his eyes a little more. He's getting more in rhythm with these receivers. And we just saw him have one of the greatest days you could have on the offensive side of the ball against a really good Ole Miss team.
right,
I mean, Gunner Stockton is the number 2 QBR rating in all of college football.
yeah. He certainly silenced the doubters, put himself in in the discussion for Heisman, which is weird to say. And like I said, I think overall the stability he's brought in. Carson Beck was high risk, high reward, and last year, unfortunately, it was a lot of high risk, a lot of interceptions. Gunner hasn't fallen into that trope. Uh, but yeah, I'm excited. The offense has been good. If you had to grade it, uh, couple performances were awesome, but you got to look at the season overall. Remember a couple of Austin P game.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I give the offense a B plus. I think improving offensive line, improving rush game, improving pass game, so much better than last year. Not perfect, but improving. B plus seems pretty good. Keep heading in the right direction. That'd be an offensive grade of an A, but right now, B plus is what I thought.
I'm actually a little more generous. I'll give him a A minus. And just going back to Gunner, I mean, talking about Heisman, he's already got Heisman moment plays this year,
It's got multiple.
multiple. And they always talk about, you got to have your Heisman moment so that they can show that clip and pick one.
And he's got the pass against the pass to Humphreys against Tennessee. He's got the touchdown against Auburn, and he's got the touchdown run against Ole Miss.
Yep, yep. So what does the offense need to do to be championship level?
Continue to improve at the level they are. Continue to use the tight ends. I think those are two things that will continue, especially with Colby Young out. we've lost our big deep threat, but the tight ends have filled in great. So continue to use them and then try to find some explosive plays. I think in the rush game, it's been consistency, but it would be nice to get some home runs in there just to
Yeah.
balance thing out.
Yeah. I think we got to be a little better in the pass game, and that comes down to the O-line is really who I'm talking about, and just better at blocking all around. The running game, while it has been great, we lost to Bama on a run play that should have been a walk-in touchdown if it was blocked right.
Right.
As much as
Right.
we hated the play, when you looked at it, it was like, oh, it was there.
Yeah.
It was there.
Right.
And
Well,
then, go
yeah, I was
ahead.
gonna say you mentioned that, which leads to one other thing we need to talk about here. And that's coaching.
Oh, yes, we do. We do.
So before we
Um,
get to coaching, let's talk special teams real quick. Special teams have been great. Thorson Woodring, solid. Woodring's making great kicks. He did miss a field goal, but other than kicking the ball out of bounds twice last week, he's been great. Thorson is Thorson. He's awesome. He's back healthy.
yeah, had
Not much to
0
mention.
punts last week.
Right. Not much, I mean, not much to mention there. We with the return game, Branch hasn't really gotten that many opportunities, unfortunately, so we haven't really seen that. But special teams doing their job, keep doing it.
Yeah, that's one thing you never really have to worry about with Georgia, it seems like, over the past 10 years,
Yeah,
is we always have good kickers and punters, and we're just really solid in special teams.
yeah. So let's talk about coaching. So I, this is a weird year. It's been really weird in terms of the coaching decisions, man. And we were really hard on the Bama after the Bama game. I just feel like something's up with the preparation of this team. Why does this team consistently get behind in first halves of games? And why is the defense look so overmatched early in games? Now the team can make the adjustments and stuff, and that's great. But even Kirby has said that they don't really make that many adjustments. It's really just stuff starting to work. And because they have great athletes, it starts to work. So in terms of coaching, whereas last year I thought was a phenomenal coaching job by this program.
Yeah.
The team had lots of issues last year and they won an SEC championship. This year I kind of feel like it's a little bit of the opposite. There have been
So,
positions that have been great. Bobo has been great. Searles has
yeah.
been great, but I
Well,
feel like the
I want to
defense.
talk about the slow starts real quick before
Okay, go
we
ahead.
dive into the other stuff. I from what we've seen, and knowing that this team is so young, there's been talk about, okay, what are they doing for preparation? They obviously aren't preparing enough. I think it's kind of the opposite. That, Kirby leaves no stone unturned, and these guys are having to process so much more information as freshmen than what you would see out of a normal Georgia defense that we're used to, where you have upperclassmen
Yeah.
as your majority of your defense. So they've been in the system. They don't have to think about things as much. So when they go into these games, they're overanalyzing everything, trying to get in the right spots, and you see the out of sortsness that they have. So as the game progresses and they start relaxing a little bit and they start reacting instead of thinking, then the defense looks great because they did all that preparation.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a matter of, okay, they just got to get more experience, and eventually, hopefully by the end of the season, we'll start
Yeah.
putting, 4 quarters together on
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the Alabama game, the coaching was bad. The decision to not at least take the field goal to tie it, or even the play call that they did with Cash Jones, I still think that was a bad game. So if
It
I'm
was.
grading coaching as a season overall, I'm giving this coaching staff a C for this year. It's just kind of average with the talent that they have, and they couldn't get over the Alabama hump. A C, but like I said, there are some bright points. Bobo, offensive line, and things are headed in the right direction. So
I think C is a little harsh because we are 6-1, ranked number 5 in the country.
very true, very true.
That's-
But
I'll-
this is Georgia, man. This is two-time
I know.
national champion.
That's why I'll give him a B minus.
All right.
But Bobo got him that little extra point.
Yeah.
So that's
So,
been good.
any final thoughts on the year so far, and what do you think happens here in the second half?
This has not been a boring season by
No,
any stretch of the
no.
imagination. I mean, Georgia's got a great team. Our only loss is by 3 points to Alabama. That ain't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a decision here or a catch there, and you're undefeated, and you're probably ranked number 2 at this point. But the thing about this team, and what I keep saying, is I think Georgia really is the most dangerous team in college football, because as bad as everybody thinks it's been, it hasn't been that bad, and we haven't even played our best.
Yeah.
So this is not even our final form.
Right. Right. So I think coming into the year, I thought this was a 10-2 team, playoff team. I think I'm going to stick with that. We got
It
5
might
games
be.
left in 5 games left in the regular season. I think we're a solid team. I think we should win, or we can win 4 of those games. One, we've got 3 toss-up games I would consider left. Florida next is a crazy toss-up game just because they fired their coach. You don't know what we're going to get, and it's Florida's a rivalry. Texas, they have the talent. Now they haven't put it together. They haven't looked great, but heaven forbid, you overlook an opponent like that and they'll kick your ass.
Yeah. And
And
they
we got Tech.
and
And we got
it
Tech at
would
the end of the
it
year.
would be so, I mean, unsurprising that would be the game Texas gets their shit together.
Right. And then we got Tech at the end of the year, who's probably going to be undefeated. So 4-1, second half of the season looks pretty likely to me. That's a playoff team. That's a lower seed, just because, like you said, there are so many, one-loss teams. But that's probably still a playoff team with the prestige of Georgia, with the wins over Tennessee and Ole Miss, and either one over Tech or Texas at that point. You're probably in the playoffs. So
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the rest of the season. I think that Georgia has a great chance to win all of those games. I think they'll be favored in all of the games that we play throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And might even be in a really good spot by not having to play in the SEC championship game.
I mean, I think the dream scenario is 11-1 and not playing in the SEC championship.
Yeah, and we get a home game for the playoff.
You get a bye week. You get a bye week the week of the SEC championship to rest and get healthy, and then you get a home playoff game. And if you're 11-1 with Georgia's resume, if you're not a top 4, because you don't have to be a conference championship to be a top 4 anymore. But if you're not, you're playing a home playoff game, you're probably a 5 or a 6. So you might be playing that group of 5 team or whatever, or a Big 12 team, So
yeah, if you're able to, you're gonna be in such a much better position as a 1-loss team going into the playoffs than 2 losses. I think it's going to make it tough, because I think there's going to be just a ton of 2-loss teams.
Yeah.
As it comes down there. But I feel good about Georgia, feel good about the Dogs. If you love college football, like and subscribe. If you made it this far and you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? So hit us up on socials at NitroCFB. And until next time, I'm Burl.
And I'm Streit.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.